number one biggest like nails on a chalkboard moment that I had early in business was people saying, was hearing other competitors say, "Oh, go call another vendor."
Right.
Like that
Right.
is just, it's like nails on a chalkboard in the IT industry because it's just a lot of finger pointing.
Yep.
And that was the same thing I had in corporate IT. It was, hey, you need to go talk to this person. You need to go talk to this person. Like, can we just fix the problem? These are 10, 15, 20 person businesses.
Right.
Like, why does this need to be an argument of whose problem it is? Just fix it. Let them get back to doing what they need to do. Says, hey, my printer's not working, and your AI ticket response says, hey, restart your computer. Or they're like, we've done that 3 times. And they're like, restart your computer. Like, you ever
Yeah.
call Comcast or Verizon or any of those big? And they're like, well, please restart your modem. Did you restart your modem? And they asked that 7 times because the voice prompt can't figure out that you said yes. That's like it. It's the customer experience at that point. Like
Yeah.
AI is great, but is it giving your customer the experience that they want? Say my laptop gets hit with a cyber attack. That AI model that can be created, it can then be used to, if I see that same attack start happening on other nodes in our environment, and it can quickly pick up that as an issue.
Yeah.
But it's noticing a pattern, it's not generating anything.
Hmm.
We're using it more in the security space of, hey, I've seen this before, instead
Right.
of, hey, create this.
Hi, I'm Matt Levenhagen, founder of Unified Web Design, Unified Plugins, and your host of the Builders Podcast. Here on the Builders, our goal is to uncover the first principles behind building businesses, products, and services. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe or follow wherever you're listening. And if you find value in our content, a like, share, or review is always appreciated. Let's dive in and explore the roots of innovation and progress together. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another The Builders. Today, we are joined by James Elliman. Welcome to the show, James.
Thanks for having me, Matt.
So James is simplifying IT. He's an IT guy. He's actually really focused on cybersecurity. So we're going to talk to him today on how he's helping small businesses and around cybersecurity, IT and stuff, and his feelings about AI maybe at some point, which I sense is not all positive, but we might get there. And we'll kind of go through his journey and then land on what he's building, how he's building, how he's built his kind of company or whatever he's doing. And then, like I said, we'll probably be talking a little bit about cybersecurity and IT, and it's right up my alley. I love it. So, on that note, James, if you want to talk a little bit about your journey, how you've landed doing the amazing things you're doing in the world today. And, we want to talk to your journey a little bit and your background, your origin story, because that always informs kind of what you're doing today and how everything led up to that. So with that, I'm going to throw it to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So my journey started probably 2 decades ago when I was like 6, 7 years old when I got my first computer. Or that was the family hand-me-down, and I decided to take it apart, put it back together, and 7 days from Sunday, and it's just kind of grown from there. I went to college for computer science and really focused on the infrastructure side. I went to work for corporate IT for a very short while. I learned a lot about the data center space and everything else, and then it's like, this isn't for me. Work with big companies, lots of meetings to make small changes, just wasn't my deal. Well, and I realized that working with small businesses, I can have a lot of the same fun. I can work with a lot of the same technology, but it doesn't require a bunch of meetings to fix a problem. It's, oh, hey, this is a problem. Let's just go fix it. Let's go click a button.
Yeah.
And that is what really brought me to where I am today.
Nice. So let's go back to that building that computer or rebuilding or building.
It was a Dell 105. It was one of the old tan towers, if you remember them.
Yeah, yeah.
Intel Pentium. And I think about 512 megabits of RAM.
Ooh.
I still remember that to this day.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's amazing how far computers have come.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever built a computer. I always messed around with them and stuff. But I always, I mean, I go further back than you. I go back into the 80s. My parents, my family had like Apples, like the first Apple IIe, Apple IIgs, somewhere around there. And then I had a computer for college and stuff in the early 90s. I'm old. But I love putzing around with computers. I love programming. I was programming in BASIC when I was 14 years old or something. Yeah. Not a lot, not hardcore, but I was always interested in that stuff, which probably informs what I do today. But that's cool. And so you kind of started out with this kind of something about the techie side of things and messing around with tech and hardware and stuff really captured you.
Yeah, it's amazing how just little zeros and ones make our life runs today.
Did you have any influence there? Was there anybody that
No, not really. My dad's
just did
a
it?
developer and my mom's an accountant, so I kind of came out of left field on that one.
Nice. Well, and then it sounds like you went to college for computer science, so that you obviously hey, I could really like this. And then you went through college, and then you sort of got your taste of corporate world, and that didn't work out so much.
No.
So, what was the biggest reason you didn't like corporate? You didn't like all the meetings. You couldn't get stuff done.
So, my favorite example was I worked for a telecom company, and we had a site that had about 100 clients, and it wasn't operating. All these clients had been down for about a week by the time that this service ticket came across my desk, and in that there was a single missing semicolon in a configuration file that took 3 weeks worth of meetings to discuss if that semicolon was the problem.
What? They didn't just try to fix it? It was somebody put it in there, see if it fixes it.
Yeah, no, it literally, because there was so much corporate oversight aided a lot of these big telecoms, especially when I was there, or that it was that was just one of thousands of examples. That was every ticket had to be discussed at this level, and I'm like, we forgot a semicolon, just put the semicolon in, and I was like, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. I don't want to have just arguments over little petty things like that. That is it turned into philosophical conversations with them engineers. What if we do this? We're all smart enough to know that it's a semicolon. Why do we have to solve every other world issue when we just need a semicolon? Yeah. And so I kind of realized that was not the best fit for me. And I just kind of decided on the side, I was helping my friends and my family with their small businesses, fixing laptops and
this is more up my alley.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, this is nice. Someone calls me and says, hey, my printer doesn't work. Well, I can just log in and update a driver and it works. There's not a lot to it. And so I really found that the small business IT space, especially the space that I found, the managed IT service space that I found myself in, is a really great fit for my personality and just kind of how my brain works. So it kind of grew from there.
Yeah, I think it's funny. Everybody, whether you're in business or not, or whatever you are, kind of going through for trying to figure out what your career is going to be, especially when you're young, you have no idea. You're trying all kinds of different things. That's how you figure it out. You just try, you just dive in. And I've even had recent examples where I have an agency, a web design agency, and we we've been doing work for years for other agencies, partnerships and stuff, and plus direct clients. But I had a recent experience where I worked with a larger agency, and it wasn't a great experience. There was elements of it were fine, but I see how that type of agency operates, and it's like you said, I don't know if it really fit my personality that well, because I'm kind of just more laid back and just yeah, there was a lot of extra fluff in there to get stuff done, and just yeah, and that yeah, there's a lot. But I figured out, hey, maybe now let me remember that. Try to not find myself in that situation again. But I like working with smaller businesses. Like if I'm dealing directly with the owner of a company, that's I know I'm in the right place because when I have a good relationship with that person, rather than working with with like account managers and all that. It's fine. Like I said, in certain circumstances, if it's smaller. But yeah, that's good. It's good you learned that lesson, and so you were in it. And then the cool thing is you were kind of doing some stuff on the side, and you were paying attention, like to your feelings. You're like, this is way better. I'm happy doing this. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
that's
then
cool.
when I finally took the jump, I really took everything I learned from there and in college, and I built out all our own infrastructure, which was really cool, having all that experience.
Well,
So
that is something though, right? I mean,
yeah,
yeah, you can go like I did work for a company. It wasn't a huge company, but it was a corporation for like 4 years as a web developer, and I learned a ton. I learned about how to
hmm
build a team that time, and I was able to focus on my craft and
hmm
really learn a lot. So that's great that even
yeah,
though you figured out you didn't like it, you learned a lot there.
yeah, I did. I
Yeah,
learned a lot, and that was cool because now when I look back, I'm like, we're 10 times better than a lot of our competitors because
nice.
I came from that experience of
Yeah.
we don't rely on cloud hosting as much as probably nearly every other company because we're like, oh, we just did it ourselves.
Nice. Yeah, I have other examples of that too. I've been running businesses for decades, but like there was another example of that where um, I had a contracting business in the early 2000s. I decided I wanted to have build a painting and repair company. So we're doing drywall work, we're doing painting houses and things, and but the problem there was I never worked for anybody else. I'm like, you know what? I've painted on canvas. I dabbled in art, and how hard can it be, right? You painting houses, and I figured it out through reading books and whatever, but then I hired people that knew more than me, and I learned from them, and that was fine. I did it, but in hindsight and looking at experiences later on, like working for a company and web as a web dev, there's this benefit. Even if you don't like it for a while, you can learn a lot from working for a larger company and at least figuring out processes and how things are actually approached, or like more details about your craft. But that's cool. So anyway, back to you. So you're what were you doing for the people on the side? Like you said printers. Like what were you like actually? What were kind of the fun things you were doing?
So I launched as a managed IT service provider. And so what that means is they pay one flat fee and then we take care of everything.
Oh,
So we provide everything from the licensing to the workstations to all the antivirus is like literally everything. I like to explain myself as a full IT department because
nice. Yeah,
we do everything and firewalls, phone systems, routers, switches, everything. And so that's kind of how I launched myself. So I gave myself a lot of flexibility
hmm,
in that. So I wasn't going and saying, oh, hey, okay, I can do this, this, and this, and I can't do this. I kind of went in all, all in and said, okay, you pay this one flat fee. You have any question, doesn't matter what it is, you call, you
yeah,
email,
nice.
and
Yeah,
I think that's
people
really
like
what set
that.
us apart. Yeah, because my number one biggest like nails on a chalkboard moment that I had early in business was people saying, was hearing other like competitors say, "Oh, go call another vendor."
Right,
Like that
right,
is
right.
just, it's like nails on a chalkboard in the IT industry because it's just a lot of finger pointing.
Yep.
And that was the same thing I had in corporate IT. It was, hey, you need to go talk to this person. You need to go talk to this person. Like, can we just fix the problem? These are 10, 15, 20 person businesses.
Right.
Like, why does this need to be an argument of whose problem it is? Just fix it. Let them get back to doing what they need to do.
Yeah.
And so that's really how the whole thing became. And what it is today is not wanting to rely on other vendors and just wanting to have that customer service first approach.
Yeah, like the client and customer loves that. Like I provide maintenance services for like websites, and one of my probably the one I've done as I have different plans, like just basic, we're just gonna keep your site up to date, and then we have another one that has a little bit more. But then I have an all inclusive where we'll do pretty much anything, servers to nuts and bolts, to actually designing a page and doing integrations for it, do all of the stuff. And I think there's a certain flavor of client. Obviously, it's probably not going to be for every company, but like that just really appreciate having that one point of contact. They don't have to deal with different vendors and stuff. Now, we may have to once in a while for them,
Yeah.
unfortunately, but especially, if right. But I think that's great to kind of be in that all inclusive service where you're that go-to guy. And so you're setting up all the tech, all the computer systems and security and all that for small businesses. And that's kind of,
Yep. So if you take it from the start, we provide people say cloud, but it's really just our servers that we have a set that's in my basement, and then we have a redundant set in a data center. So it's not really cloud, but it's our servers. We take care of everything from the internet service. We're a licensed internet service provider. We also bring in the phone service. Yes, we do that.
oh, wow.
And it goes all the way through the business from the firewalls, the routers, the switches, and the wireless access points that provide the internet, to the servers if they have them, to the workstations and the security tools from antivirus to EDR or to backup and recovery, and even in a lot of the actual cloud services like Microsoft 365 and all of the tools to
Wow.
build that into more of a complete solution, like every step of the way.
And
From a
every
technology.
every customer is a little bit different. So you're kind of a custom setup for them, depending on
Yeah,
their
we
needs.
have a very flat, very standard set of tools that we use, but we can customize those to what we did. And like Microsoft 365 is a great platform to start with, but I can tell you there's about 15 different holes that most businesses don't know that they have. And so we went out and found 15 tools or wrote our own tools to kind of fill those gaps.
Okay.
And so
Interesting.
when they go in, it's a much more complete solution. Because if you look at, if you go on the web now and you look at, if you're on Google Workspace or Microsoft 365, you notice how there's a whole marketplace of different apps that you can add to your environment.
Right.
Well, those are all people that have found holes, and they built these solutions.
The holes like gap in like the
Whether it's
service.
security or functionality,
Right.
or like the biggest ones is Microsoft spam filter that they include in Microsoft 365 is absolutely atrocious. So we just went out, cost us a couple bucks, and we just found another one that slid right in place.
Oh,
And
nice.
so we filled a lot of those gaps. And so when we offer our packaging, it's here's our package price, but it includes all those holes filled with the labor and everything else.
Nice.
And so that's kind of how we went about things to really to be that you don't have to go call another vendor, or we can be just the tech guy to solve a lot of problems.
Oh, that's cool. That's actually kind of sounds fun to kind of identify those things and build stuff, kind of build your own custom solutions. And
Yeah, and it also gives us, because we did that, it gave us so much more flexibility afterwards. Like I have a marketing client that loves automation. So because we already knew the intricacies of this and they wanted to build out automation in their workflow, it was like, oh, cool, okay. I'll just go pop that over here, pop this over here, or a couple lines of code later, or they have their automation. And they're like, this is the best thing ever. Like, shouldn't this cost a fortune? I'm like, it took us less than 10 minutes to set up for you. Because we already knew the environment so well. All from building in this whole more holistic platform.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's valuable, especially for a small business. So how did you, like when you first, we go kind of rewinding a little bit here, when you were doing stuff on the side, you're still corporate, and then you figure out this. What was that transition like? Did you just dive into this? You quit your job and just went all in, and what did that
Not
look like?
exactly. It was more of a. It was a little abrupt. So I was working for a corporate company and doing this on the side, and our department all got laid off at the same time.
Oh,
So it was kind
oops.
of oh, okay, well, I guess we're doing this full time. I didn't have a whole lot of money. I had bartended a little bit on the side to kind of pay rent and everything else. But after that, it was just kind of, hey, I don't have time to make it to this bartending shift. Well, I guess we'll do one less this week, and then it just kind of phased out from there. I
Oh,
knew I
nice. You
didn't
were
want to
doing
be a part.
bartending. I'm an old bartender. I bartended through the '90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice way to have fun and have some cash on the side.
And if
Yeah.
you're a business owner, like you're just starting out, I learned so many skills from that. Like how to talk to people.
Yeah.
Oh, is the number one. Because you're developing these regulars that you're going to either talk to, or you're learning how to deal with angry guests,
Right.
and it's just like an angry client.
That's actually, this is really good because I attribute a lot of my ability to talk to almost anybody from those years. I was a full-time bartender for a year, like probably 5 years through the '90s, and kind of a dive bar, but it wasn't. It was a in a city called or like Mequon here in Wisconsin. Mequon's a very rich area, but it was very. I kind of I worked in a um, kind of a little bit of a dive bar. Um, it was the American Legion and it had a bar, and but we would get, and I would be there on my own. We'd have somebody during the day. I would take over at like 5. I'd work all night and manage the bar and everything. But we would have like such an array because there was like millionaires that would come in because it's a very rich area, right? So one of the richest counties in the country, and they would come in and sit at the bar, but they would be next to somebody that's out of work or worked at one of the local factories. And then there was a college nearby. And so you'd have college students coming in. And it was just, I felt like that was, in those years, were so formative in terms of my ability to talk and be comfortable talking to almost anybody. I can talk to CEOs but also just random people because of that experience. You must have had the same experience. What kind of bar did you work in?
I worked at a 4-star hotel.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, so I rubbed elbows with some very wealthy people.
Yeah,
Oh, from CEOs to American Express and Blue Cross Blue Shield to who like very
I
well.
suppose. Yeah.
And you know what's really fascinating about it is at that level I had to sell a Bud Light. It wasn't hey, I want a Bud Light. It was, hey, what beer or which one do you think I should get? And I was like, oh, geez, now I have to go sell everything from Bud Light 8 to a $4,000 bottle of wine. And so I learned a lot of sales tactics that way.
Right. Sure.
Right, wrong, or indifferent, but you also get the angry customers, and you have to learn how to deal
Yeah.
with these people, and especially that they're all used to a certain standard and hospitality and everything else. So I learned a lot.
Yeah.
I
Got all of
learned a
the
lot.
regulars that they want their drink just a certain way, and
Yeah.
it's wild. It's wild. Good stuff. But yeah, that really helped you, as you're getting into your own business and stuff, and to
Yeah,
deal
it
with
taught me sales
customers.
because I went
Yeah.
to school and have an engineering degree at the end of the day. Like,
Right.
I had no I knew nothing about sales and marketing and everything else, and that job really taught me a lot of it.
Quick pause to give a shout out to the sponsors of the Builders Podcast, Unified Web Design and UnifiedLabs.ai. At Unified Web Design, we specialize in crafting custom websites and offering complete design and development solutions to help businesses build a strong, lasting online presence. Now, through UnifiedLabs.ai, a project I'm really excited about, we're helping businesses tap into the power of AI and automation, designing smarter systems, streamlining operations, and building practical tools that actually work. From audits to implementation, we help brands navigate the AI landscape with clarity and confidence. Whether you need a custom website or you're ready to explore how AI can transform your workflows, visit unifiedwebdesign.com and unifiedlabs.ai. Now back to our show. That's interesting. You know, you just feel like that could be a missing piece for a lot of people. Like they went to college, they got like, whether it's engineering or whatever kind of thing they went in, but they don't have the people skills. And
Yeah.
you know, and that's why I think even restaurant business and stuff like that, it's probably got to be, got to really help. So
They're hard jobs, but man, do they teach a lot of good life lessons.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. So how did you make the transition though? How did you get more business? How did you or is it all local business and you put an ad in the paper?
85% of it's local.
Yeah.
We have a couple clients that were referrals that are really far away, but luckily we belong to now a labor share program with 13,000 other IT providers.
Oh, wow.
So if I have a client that's traveling out to Vegas or San Diego or for a conference and they have a laptop ties, I can call up the reciprocal provider. We cover the Boston area and they cover, there's different providers that cover different cities and everything else. So if we pick someone up, we can work with them on that regard. But to gain new clients, it was a lot of marketing. Like those BNIs, the NGUs, the trusts. I did a lot of those over the years. There's a lot of
really got yourself out there.
Yeah, and really, at the end of the day, it's just talking to people. And I, as an early IT provider, I also didn't have the budget to market myself off and compete. Like you look at Google spending on AdWords, and for IT services near me, it's $42 a click right now. Or something ridiculous. Yeah. And that's just a click. That doesn't guarantee a sale or anything else. That's just one click. And I couldn't afford that. Yeah. Even what it was a couple of years ago. And I was like, well, I got to figure something else out. So I'm like, well, I'm going to do what's cheapest to me, and that's my labor. So I'm just going to go talk to people. So that's what it did. And those bartending skills came right out. I can sit down and talk to someone and say, hey, love to hear about your business, hear what you're doing, and one step led to another. Keep in touch with everyone, and you build the network, and you know a guy, and one thing goes to another.
Yeah, I mean a lot of businesses, service-based businesses and stuff. That's how they're built. They're just built by networking and meeting people and putting yourself out there, and you can do that virtually, like on the web these days. There's virtual meetups and different things. And there's, but yeah, if you can focus on a local business, on local businesses, you can just meet them in person, which is even better. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It was really just talking to people because I didn't have a budget.
Right. And then it's word of mouth. And then, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, when you're starting out any business, you got to look at what, if you got a runway you might have a runway and you're going to sink money into advertising or whatever you're going to do. And, but a lot of people don't. It's like, they just they're focused on their craft. They don't have a lot of budget or anything in the bank. And, you're just bootstrapping it all. And it's like, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, eventually you want to extract you should be focused on the more high value part of your business. But in the beginning, the high value is just getting more clients, getting sales. So that's what you're focused on. That's the hat you're wearing. So cool. And then it just kind of grew from there, word of mouth, and you just started getting some good clients. And
I still probably spend about 10 to 15% of my time every week on networking and talking to people.
And now on podcasts.
Yeah. And because at the end of the day, its clients also come to you for things that just aren't tech related. I mean, we have a great team, but they call and be like, well, my website doesn't work or my CRM doesn't work. I'm like, well, that's not really a tech issue here. That's a marketing issue, or that's
Hmm.
oh, how do I handle these billing issues in QuickBooks? I'm like, I have no idea. But I mean, I use QuickBooks, but my staff don't. They know how to make QuickBooks turn on and off and read a file, but they don't know how to do accounts receivable in QuickBooks. So it's like, well, here, I know a great CPA, or I know a great
Right. There you
bookkeeper,
go.
or I know a great web designer, and so I've really kept up on the networking. Yeah, it brings in some clients, but it also now it's our clients love that they can, if it's something that they think is our problem, it's not. We have a way to send them off to go do something else and talk to someone else.
That's beautiful though, because that means you really built a great relationship with them. If they're just like, yeah, hey, James will know. If he can't do it,
Yeah.
he'll know.
Yeah.
And that's another thing too in the service. Like you're kind of niched down in what you're. I mean, you probably do a lot of stuff, but you're got your wheelhouse. But then
Hmm.
you build these relationships with other people that do other things in marketing, advertising, or whatever. And so that's where the referrals come in. Yeah, I can refer you to that person, and then that comes back to you too.
Yeah.
That's yeah, it's like it's great network of people that help each other out, send business back and forth across the country,
Yeah.
locally, everywhere. So that's cool. So one of the things I'm curious about, and I think we may have touched on this in our pre-call, is um, how you kind of built up the services. Did you like build them like one at a time? And how did that develop? Because you're doing a lot now, right? You said you're doing
Yeah.
all that stuff, but did it
Yeah.
start out that way, or did you just slowly evolve over time? How did that work?
So it started with just the cloud service, or what I call cloud services, but it's Microsoft 365, and our original phone system that we went away from. I did a lot of things that weren't very in the office. We hosted them ourselves, and then we just did hourly support for workstation servers and everything like that. And then it was really became, hey, we have enough of these devices that we're getting called for hourly support on. Well, let's just add that as another one of our monthly line items that they can choose from.
Hmm.
And so it wasn't. Some of them were faster than others, like workstations and servers happened pretty quickly. Things like switches, which probably should have happened faster than it did, but it was probably about a year later that we added a line item to like a managed switch. Like you don't have to call for hourly support to take a look at a switch. You can just have a smaller or preset, and then we just keep tabs on it.
You just kind of learn that as you go, and
Yeah, it
yeah,
was
yeah.
like, looking back, I was like, why did we wait like a year to add that as a line item? Like that should have been like one of the first ones, but it wasn't. It was just like,
Hindsight is always 2020, as they say.
yeah, there was a lot of those. It was because I really focused on kind of. I probably went a little backwards. I went with building line items for things that clients didn't call about first, and then to the things that clients called about. Because like everyone's using, we're still in 2019ish when I was starting out there were a lot of clients that were still ironically on Microsoft Exchange, like the old school
Hmm.
Exchange servers. And so or Google Workspace, and we're having issues, so I went and built out my Microsoft 365 product at first. And but everyone was calling us for Google Workspace support or Microsoft Exchange servers, and so I built that line item,
Yeah.
and then started migrating people over instead of building a line item to manage those. It's like that was I probably had to work a lot harder than I should have at that time.
Right. Right.
But
And
yeah, we definitely built a little backwards.
yeah. Well, I mean, at least you were taking action.
Yeah,
You were in there.
and
Um,
then following that, we actually simplified everything. Like my goal is to simplify our invoices to I think we're down to 9 line items right now.
So a line
Oh,
item is every little service that you provide or whatever.
so we do. I One of the things in the tech industry is, especially managed services, is companies like to send these massive 15-page managed service agreements that say, okay, cool, we'll cover this, this, and this. We won't cover this.
Right.
And so when you talk to in the sales process, as I get a lot of clients that say, hey, well, we don't know what we're paying for, or we thought we were paying for this and we're not. And so I just made, okay, cool. Microsoft 365 and all its tools that we add on is this price. Here's what you get. I have a 1-page document that I will hand out to any client and say, cool, here's what you get. And they can understand that. And
Yeah.
so we have one line item that's workstations. And then there's, okay, cool, you have 10 of them. And then everything that's on this under the workstation column is included. There's no, hey, is this included? Is it not? Yep. Here's your list.
Super simple.
And
Yeah.
it's super simple. Well, to kind of I mean, IT tech, it's all complicated,
Yeah.
especially to a lot of people. And so I really wanted to make a solution that wasn't complicated. Because
And that's great because I was just so somebody on my team we we're trying to do business with somebody basically do business with somebody. It was somebody that we just wanted to do something with them, but their process is so complicated, and they have they have a custom way of doing things, and I was just joking with her. I'm like, this is like a master class in how to make it super hard to do business with them, like with somebody, don't make it hard to do business, because like you said, I mean, in your case, the customer doesn't want to go through a 50-page, with all the exclusions and inclusions and details about what you're going to do for them. They want to be able to, at a glance or maybe at a sheet, see this is what they can do. And yeah, that makes a ton of sense.
yeah, it makes
Yeah.
tech is complicated enough. There's
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to sell you this software as a service, is this new piece of technology for automating your life and everything else, and then it nickels and dimes businesses to death.
Yeah.
Like if you think about back, I like to think about, oh, my grandfather, my great grandfather, my grandfather are owned an insurance company, and didn't have computers back then. They had
Yeah.
a phone system. They had a simple phone system that had about 2, 3 phone calls at a time, and they did everything else with paper and pencil. There was no automation. It was, hey, we're gonna do this, and it's just us, and they didn't have a whole lot of overhead because, well, there was not a whole lot to do. It was sell an insurance policy, fill out the paperwork, send it off. Well, that's all there was to it. Now you look at something as simple as an insurance company, and they have CRMs, they have quoting software, or all these tools, and everyone else is saying they're trying to tell them, well, you keep this tool, but buy this tool too. And at the end of the day, you end up with this bill that's like a bazillion. You look at your credit card statement, it's like,
Yeah.
all these services, and you're like, am I using all these? And like, you have to have that conversation all the time because everything's a software and an automation. So trying to make that as simple
Yeah,
as key.
that's easy. It's easy for a small business to get overwhelmed. Even, run an agency. Like I look at my own bill. You have to look at it once in a while because you tack stuff on all the time. Like, I need this tool for a little while, and then we're not using it anymore. Are we using it anymore? Are we? Yeah. It's constant because that all can add up. I
Yeah.
mean, for sure. Yeah, it's funny that you brought up insurance too, because I was actually on the right at the cusp. I was an insurance agent for like 10 years. Like, I've done a lot, but so I was an insurance agent right in around 1997. And when I came into it, it was still mostly paper. they just had a computer. They just had these really hard to use software systems to start to kind of build out and kind of quote new quoting systems and stuff. But still, in those days, everything leads were paper. Everything was, so it was good feels. I was thinking back at that, and yeah, nowadays I'm sure it's even calling up my insurance agent, it's it's a whole thing now. Yeah,
It's a lot.
yeah, it's a lot, and it's not always you don't. Do you need all that? Like, just keep things simple. I mean,
Yeah.
like you said, like what you're doing with your clients. I mean, or your customers. They, like I said, they're busy. They got their craft, whatever they're doing to run their business. They don't need to be. They want to give it to somebody else to do it, but they also want to understand in simple terms what you're doing or can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then it scaled up from there. Do you have what was kind of the next phase? Were you working on yours by yourself at first? Did you start getting help, partners?
Yeah, so no, I never really had partners. I've had a lot of part-time help. My brother and his college friends have been super instrumental.
Nice.
I've had a lot of part-time help. They're off doing other things, but they've always, whether they're studying for grad school or something else, they've always been willing to kind of help me out. So I've
That's cool.
never been losing my mind in that regard, right? Because as an IT provider, you can get a lot of phone calls some days like, hey, everyone's password's not working. Like, cool. Okay, Microsoft rolled out a new security policy. Now you got to deal with that. So no, I've had been very fortunate in the help I've gotten from there, or my family and friends and everyone else been like, hey, can I give you a hand doing this? Can I do that? So I'm very fortunate.
Very good.
And then, yeah,
Wait, so that like today, what do you have a team and you have?
I still have about 5 part-time people that help me out.
Okay.
Like all family and friends and friends of friends and everyone else, and we're bringing on our first full-time salesperson in right now. So that's exciting, and so I can kind of step away from that. I want to spend a lot more time on the infrastructure side, right, and building out a lot of that, because it's something that in the last probably year and a half to 2 years, I've stepped away from to help grow the business.
Right.
And now we're at a teetering point where I need to go back to, I need someone to grow the business, but I need to go start re-engineering a lot of these services so they scale with the business again. So I had to kind of make a choice. Do I need to hire another technical person and have them figure that out? Or hire a salesperson, hand them, hey, you have these 9 simple line items to sell. I'm going to go back to doing this. And so it's kind of where it showed. I sat down with a good friend of mine over a beer and talked it out with him, and he's like, I think you got to hire a salesperson. I was like, I think so too.
That's great. You got friends. You got people to talk to about these things.
Yeah,
because we can get in our own heads sometimes. It's like you just spin.
Yeah, Element has always been a very family and friends oriented business. Like I've always had family and friends like, hey, can you help me with this? I'll help you do that. And like, hey, I'd love to sit down and talk to you about this. And so, a lot of the things that we've done over the years have been very family and friends inspired.
I love that.
Keeps it small, keeps it close.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have, so do you have, I think first of all, I think it's interesting because as business owners and even myself running an agency, the hats you wear change over time. And depending on what stage your business is, or you may be struggling in some area, and right, you have to make that decision. Do I hire somebody to fix that for me? Or you got to know your value and your vision and realize, well, no, I would rather have hands, because that's a really important thing for our future. And I imagine that's how you kind of thought about it. You have the experience and stuff that you want to bring to the table, and you have a certain vision for it. And that's why you decided somebody else can sell for us, but I really need to be focused on what we provide. what we deliver.
Yeah, and it comes to, at least when I sat down and had that conversation, it came down to two things. If I put $1 or per hour or how many dollars per hour or value on everything, and I also look at, well, what's set in stone? What is like in a good spot? Well, I can tell you that our sales and marketing are in a really good place right now. We generate leads. Our our line items are very easy to understand. That we can bring someone on and they can sell those products. It's not going to be they have to spend and 6 months learning our products before they can sell them. And they can pick this up, read it just like a client would, and be off to the races in a month and a half of training. So then that leaves me to spend and the hours doing a high valued server infrastructure work that could be $1,000 an hour, or if you put a value on it, which is something that I could either hire someone, but that's a really expensive problem for me.
True.
And I
Yeah.
enjoy it, so I'll just go do that.
Yeah.
They can go take on something that's in a good spot right now. Oh, and that's just kind of how we made the decision.
But I think you put in the work though to make that happen. Like you
Mhm.
did, you were focused on the sales side for quite a long time and you
Yeah,
figured it out. I imagine you documented all that, got good SOPs and everything so you
we're about
can,
to find out how well I did.
yeah, good onboarding process. Yeah, you gotta, I guess we'll find out, but then
Yeah,
you will find out, but you'll find out maybe there's some areas you'll still need to work on or improve the training around and stuff. But that makes a ton of
definitely.
sense. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're about to find out how well I did. Yeah, sales and marketing have been the one thing that for the 6 years that we've been in business, I've done all myself.
Yeah.
Like we never really had anyone that did sales and marketing. And we had some interns to kind of take on some more clothes at some point, but and do some of the creative stuff. But for the most part, it was all me doing sales and marketing. So this is the first time that I've always been involved in the technical side. We've always had help there, but this is the first time that's been like sales and marketing. It's the first time to start taking my foot off the gas and letting someone else drive. So we're
That's
gonna see
exciting
how
though. That's exciting though.
it's exciting and it's scary and
Don't get too much business. Just
yeah. Well, it's don't get too much business that you're gonna overflow and break things, but
right.
I also need you to go sell things and don't
Yeah.
do nothing. So
Right.
I
Right.
need to make sure it's not like paralysis, like things don't work out. So you
Yeah.
sit there and figure out how that works.
Yeah. I'll kind of land on this. I'm always curious, like how, because the tech is moving so quickly now, and we didn't really get into the cybersecurity side of things, the technical, because I'm really interested in the businesses and how things are
Yeah.
sold first. Maybe that's another conversation we have. But I'm curious, in the world now, obviously AI is a big thing. You talked a little bit about you sprinkle automation in there and stuff, and that's something for me as an agency as well as things are changing dramatically. Like, we lost a recent contract because the company, we had the contract for more than 4 years, but the company figured out how to build their own landing pages and funnels and all that internally with AI. So my dedicated resource no longer was needed. But that was a wake up call for me. Plus, now we're using Cursor and different ways to write code and things are changing a lot, and AI is having a big impact. Even though we're kind of have our wheelhouse around design and development, building websites, maintenance, all that stuff. I found that I'm actually introducing some new services around helping with automation and AI and really bringing it more to the forefront, even though we've been using it kind of behind the scenes up until now. So we're evolving with that. I'm curious if there's, what the impact on you has been. And we can talk about whether you like it or not, because you seem a little not 100% positive on AI stuff. Maybe you speak to that a little bit here, but I'm curious what your thoughts on. We've spent a few minutes on that.
Yeah. So I mean, AI is a great thing.
Yeah.
I will say that AI, automation, machine learning, all those are great things. A lot of it's been in the background for a very long time. Especially in the security side, right? We've had a lot of machine learning and lot of, I wouldn't call it exactly AI, but something alike, like especially in antivirus and EDR, or
Oh,
because what it does is it's pattern recognition at the end of the
right.
day. And so recognizing, hey, these files are changing. And a great part of AI. But at the same time, especially when you look at like the tech side or the coding side, a lot of the AI that we use today, from ChatGPT, it's it's based upon all the other content that's on the web. Well, eventually you're going to hit a breaking point of, hey, there's all this AI content on the web. It's all just going to start sounding the same because you're just training the machine off of the machine content.
So it's
And
not coming up with original ideas. It's kind of,
exactly,
yeah.
it'll start to phase that out, and so you need that personal touch to have true inspiration and new ideas and all of that fun stuff. And we've really put a lot of effort into not using AI where we can, especially from like marketing and customer relations, and a lot of our competitors are using AI for like basic ticket answering and everything else. And that's great, but if a client says, "Hey, my printer's not working," and your AI ticket response says, "Hey, restart your computer," or they're like, "We've done that 3 times," and they're like, "Restart your computer." Like, you ever
Yeah.
call Comcast or Verizon or any of those big? And they're like, "Well, please restart your modem." Did you restart your modem? And they ask that 7 times because the voice prompt can't figure out that you said yes. That's like it. It's the customer experience at that point. Like
Yeah.
AI is great, but is it giving your customer the experience that they want?
Yeah. People want to talk to humans.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there has to be a balance. There was a company we're working with right now because we're converting over an e-commerce store to use Klarna, which is a whole thing from an old system. And, but I got sent a message like, is this Klarna? There was like a news item where Klarna must have just let go of all these people and replaced them with AI, like AI solutions or whatever. And they're regretting it. And they're rehiring actual people back. I don't know all the details, but it was something along those lines where they tried to go all in with AI and it just blew up in their face. And
Yeah.
this is a multi-billion-dollar company, and but I think that's, you see that playing out with different companies. It probably happens a lot more than we think it's happening because small companies don't make the news. But where there's people experimenting, but I think maybe that balance is like what you're talking about there is like, you can't remove the human completely. Like these AI tools can assist them and help them and but eventually make it easier to get to a human to understand your problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like my favorite example of how ChatGPT helps me is rewriting emails. Like as an
Mm.
analytical person, I'll write bullet points for emails all day long. Like my emails are like half a paragraph max. Like I write very quick thoughts, and I'll write a bunch of those. But get the little ChatGPT plug into my Outlook, and it'll rewrite it into a nice thing. But it's taking my thoughts.
Right.
I really enjoy that
Right.
aspect. But at the same time, I don't need it to write my entire blog post for me. Just say, hey, write a blog post for Element Technologies. It needs to put that's about cybersecurity. Well, that's great, but it's probably the same blog post that was rewritten in 17,000 other times.
Yeah, because
Where's the original
it's
content?
writing based on what it knows is out there already.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
there's where you got to find that balance.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Especially with content. Yeah. So I mean, like, does it affect though? Like, so it sounds like this stuff's kind of already been there in terms of your IT, your cybersecurity, and all that. You're just talking like these
We've
models were
used that
already.
for really years because it's pattern recognition.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, whether it's the ChatGPT that's saying, hey, after an I, you put an A or whatever, or insert or whatever grammatical or language structure you want. But on the security side, we've used it for a very long time, and because as I can say, hey, I see this file encrypted or making these changes. I've seen this pattern before, or at this cyber attack. So it's been used to recognize patterns like that for a very long time.
Is it getting better though? Is it because of all the everything going into it right now? There's so much investment in it. Is it actually getting, or it's probably getting worse because you have more attacks now because of AI?
A little bit of both. I'd say it's definitely getting a lot better.
Okay.
Because we can train on models and we can also train on other systems. So, say my laptop gets hit with a cyber attack. That AI model that can be created, it can then be used to, if I see that same attack start happening on other nodes in our environment, and it can quickly pick up that as an issue.
Yeah.
But it's noticing a pattern, it's not generating anything. We're using it more in the security space of, hey, I've seen this before, instead of, hey, create this. I think is where the cybersecurity side has really leveraged it. Is we use it more for recognition instead of generation.
You think though, like with like AI agents and stuff, where it would actually be able to behind the scenes actually identify the issue and then patch it or do whatever it has to do to roll it out for you, so you can just sit back on your beach and it just does all the work for you. Maybe we'll get there. 2 more years, 3 more years.
Yeah, I think we still got a little time.
No, this is a great conversation, James. I love talking about this stuff. There's so much we could get into in terms of tech and all that, but I'm always fascinated to listen to somebody's journey, at least in the first episode, and just how you how that journey was, how you landed on this thing you're like really interested in, from building computers to go into school for it and to figuring out you hate corporate. It's always fascinating because I think it's inspiring. It's like that. And it's always messy. It's never perfect. It's always, it's unique to each person. But there's some patterns there.
Yeah,
there's patterns. We're recognizing patterns. Like a lot of people I talk to kind of have that same kind of. That's how you figure it out. You try things, and along the way, it's just very cool stuff. So, if somebody wants to learn more about what you do and learn more about your company, and maybe they need a guru IT guy around to call up and solve all their problems for, where can they find you? Where do you hang out on the World Wide Web?
I hang out all over the World Wide Web. I'm big in the SCORE, or the Small Business Administration SCORE, or I'm a speaker there, or I'm pretty active in the public forums with them as well.
Nice.
You can always reach out through the website or through sales@elementtech.com. I'm in there all the time, and I probably answer emails a little faster than I probably should have. Take a little time off, but if you ever have a question, or even just pick up the phone, call our office line, because I can tell you that a human will actually answer the phone.
Nice.
It won't be any AI. It's a person.
Walking your talk. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
I really do. So if you have any questions, just pick up the phone, send over an email, click on the website. Hey, I'm always writing blog articles about current cyber things to talk about, so if you just want to see what the newest, latest, and greatest thing is you can check that out as well.
Very good. Well, thanks a lot, James. Until next time.
See ya.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Builders Podcast. One more quick note about our sponsors. At Unified Web Design, we're passionate about doing better together, partnering with agencies and businesses to deliver exceptional web design, development, and ongoing support. And Unified Plugins offers tools to take your WordPress projects to the next level, helping you build beautiful websites, enhance functionality, and drive more conversions. If you haven't already, subscribe or follow to stay updated on future episodes. And if you enjoyed today's conversation, sharing it with somebody who might benefit helps us grow this amazing community. Until next time, keep building with intention and creativity.